I guess for the morning is Kwabna Amankwe-Siama. He's the Honorable Member of Parliament for Fantiakwano. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you, sir.
How did you spend your holiday?
Oh, it was full of rest. Yes, because the midweek day, all that you can do not to travel, but at least take some rest with your family. Normally on the weekends, we have to travel to our constituency. So on a midday like this, I think it's possibly best if you stay with your family and chat around.
I know yesterday, especially on the various discussion platforms, the argument came up about the relevance of the African Union and whether a holiday was important. What do you make of those arguments? What do you think is the relevance of the African Union Day in itself?
It is indeed relevant, considering the fact that we live on a continent like others do have theirs. It's suitable if we have ours, and we are having it as well. And but what actually have been the achievement? It's something that we can all talk about. Are they on the right path? Have we achieved enough? What do we expect to achieve? Have you considered where we were and how we've gotten here and where we want to go and how do we get there? If we can consider all these things and know our faults and attempt to correct them and make sure that this time around we put a bigger foot forward to integrate on economic, agriculture and technological lines, as well as getting the African High Command in proper place, so that at least they can do what they have to do to bring peace to the continent. I think if these are done, then we are going well.
Yeah. And one of the highlights of discussions over the last couple of years in Ghana has been the subject of electricity provision, which has been in short supply, has been better the last couple of months, but more so come to the fulcrum of various public discussion platforms because of the current consistency or inconsistent levels of the tariffs that are charged, and how that is having also a toll on consumers generally. Your flag bearer, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, seem also to have weighed into the whole argument. Now even as if directing government or perhaps urging government to reduce the tariffs, making some comparable analysis as to what exists in the sub-region.
Yes, indeed, I will shout very good morning to my flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo. He's unflappable, you know, and we are giving him an unflagged support to take up the mantle this time around and rule Ghana and give a better direction than we are experiencing now or we have even experienced. Yes, he needs the electricity prices are very, very alarming and killing both consumers, including citizens and industry. He will have to speak about it as the opposition leader. And it's right. What is happening now is something that nobody ever thought could happen. You see, it is like stealing from the people. You see, stealing from the people. It is not right. Electricity is killing almost everybody. Meanwhile, salaries are not indexed to living standards or the increases of these tariffs. But always what we see it, we are telling people to die for the government, but the government trying to institute policies and programs that will help alleviate people's hardships. There's something that I can't fathom. I can't understand. You see, these prices started way back in January, and people have been crying. Everybody has been crying in Ghana. People who were paying 20 Ghana cedis in compound houses are now paying well over 120 Ghana. You see, and when we started talking and we started prompting both ECG and government that what is happening is not the best, government did not take us serious. Neither did electricity people also take us serious. But now that it's like everybody is being affected, right? The government is saying, hey, let me set up a committee. A committee for what? A committee for what?
But is that not the right thing to do? Now, particularly when we know even the Electricity Company of Ghana has said it is due to a system deployment application which seem to have gone bad?
I would say yes and no for that, because why wouldn't they have realized it earlier, about a month or week when they started
well,
the program?
you deploy a system over a period before you see some of the inconsistencies.
But it's well over 3-4 months now. Had it not been that people and industry have been talking, they wouldn't have come to the aid of industry and individuals. It is not the best. As a nation going forward, we have to build the nation for ourselves. You see, if we build a nation with an intention to suppress citizens.
Is that what is taking place?
Oh, yes. Oh,
There's
yes.
a deliberate intention to suppress citizens?
Oh, yes. Either than that.
But somebody will say that's political talk, very much expedient for you politically.
Either than that, it wouldn't have traveled this long. If really it is an anomaly that they are saying due to programming of their own assessment, then why this long? They should have realized this longer than now. Money's taken, would they bring them back? Would they rebuild them back? Would they say, okay, go without paying electricity for 3 months and start paying after the 3rd month because we have unduly charged you for the previous 3 months? It wouldn't happen that way.
Well, it could be worked out. When there are some inconsistencies.
Once it gets to them, it's very difficult to recoup.
Especially with the magnitude of the bills that are coming.
Yes, and it's everywhere and it's everybody. And they have calculated that as their money. You see, so it will be very difficult for them to recoup everything.
Your flag bearer, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, according to some critics, perhaps, or it depends on which side of the political divide you are, or you tend to look at things, say it becomes a lot more convenient for him to just categorically or summarily say that the tariffs need to be reduced, making comparisons to what exists in the sub-region, when we know perhaps the variables are also, and the environment is also different.
No, when we talk about business environment, right, let's get to business. When you talk about a business environment, it is global. You cannot localize your business environment if you want to go global. And it's the aspiration of every industry or every enterprise or entrepreneur to integrate onto the larger market of the globe. So if cost of production tends to be higher in your local environment, it becomes difficult for you to go outside your environs, that is international. That in itself does not help the industry alone. It helps the government, because we always say that we are less exporting, right? But importing in volumes. So our GDP is always troubled, hence our deficit. So what the government needs to be concerned about is to make sure that he eases the business environment of industry so that industry can compete on the international front. If that is not happening, then whatever the government is doing locally, whether it wants to take more taxes to improve infrastructure, I don't think he is on the right path. Abidjan can be compared to Ghana. But it's like the government, this very administration has an affinity to overcharge or overburden its citizens. And it is to the detriment of the government itself. I don't understand why the government is not realizing this fact, that what is happening is rather shrinking the economy, and for that matter, bringing hardship to Ghanaians. If we can't export, we can't bring to any good levels the depreciating of the city, right? So what my flag bearer is saying is that compare what is happening in Abidjan to what is happening in Ghana. Globally, no country these days lives alone, not even the strongest or the weakest. Neither can Ghana be an exception.
Okay. Let me ask you a very sincere question. The economy of Ghana and the economy of Cote d'Ivoire, which one is the most, is the biggest?
Now I would say that the economy of Abidjan is robust, but
it's more resilient and robust.
Yes, and our economy is beleaguered because we look at our interest rate. That of Cote d'Ivoire doesn't go beyond 5%. And our interest rate.
So you're saying that the economy of Cote d'Ivoire is witnessing a better growth rate?
Oh yes, stability of their currency is there for them, right? Interest rate, perfect. Inflation, well managed. So if all these things are happening and people are making good life in a country like Abidjan, compared to what is happening in Ghana, that everybody is crying. Those who are receiving large sums of money at the end of the month, and those who are not receiving even more are also complaining. You see, this is very bad for our economy. So that of Ivory Coast, even when they are just coming out of war, can perform to such a degree in stability of economic management. Why can't we as a nation? Ghana, I don't know what is happening. People have continuously referred to the fact that there is a preponderance of vacuity in the management of our affairs. But it's subject to debate. But in their own circles, in the circles of the government, if you take the Minister for Industry, for instance, saying that this is a mediocre administration, coterie of mediocre people managing whilst they are there. Now that he is included in the system, what is he doing to change the system?
Let me ask you this. I know it's very hypothetical, very sheepish a question, but if Nana Danko Akufo-Addo should become president, will he remove some of these tariffs and reduce the taxes, etc.?
Definitely.
Really?
Yes, why not? He can do that. We have the men. We have to. We see, when we are voted to power, mind you, as the president, the current president said that he was not voted to power to take palatable decisions only, but hard decisions. It is not always. You have to consider the exigencies of the period and make sure that you do something to meet at least something that is relevant that people will live with. But everybody is talking. Why that? Everybody is
So it means that something definitely is wrong.
Yes. The 7% flat for services can be reduced. The 10% energy levy can also be reduced. And the city will not see this challenge, right? If the city does not see this challenge, automatically the rates will come down. And when the rates come down, the tariff will also come down automatically. You see, it's now almost 4 cedis to $1. How can this happen? How can this happen? And again, Abidjan is charging 13% and 13 cents, and Ghana we are charging.
Okay, in local balance, we equate Abidjan to Cote d'Ivoire. Abidjan.
Why can't we? We have to.
Abidjan say Abidjan or Modiane.
Yes.
All right, but we have to come to a certain closure on this very subject, and I believe that following the actions and the directive. The actions by the PRC following that very directive by government, it means things will be put right. How would you think, would you suggest or hazard a guess that, well, for those who have already paid the inconsistent rates because of the poor software that has been deployed, how do you think they can be compensated?
Oh, I don't think the government.
You don't think it can happen? It's not about government. It's the ECGs.
For that matter, the government. The money goes to the government. ECG is a corporate body, fine, under the ambit of the government. So whatever happens, they cannot charge without the consent of the government. All these charges came to Parliament not through ECG, but through government. Yes. So we have to take note, and they can give a flat consumption kilowatts for consumers, but I think it wouldn't be anything that will make consumers happy for money is lost, especially for the industry that they have. Some industries are folding up, some are thinking to fold up, and some have folded up, and all their workers come back to swell the teeming youth unemployed.
Let's look at a related sector linked to the economy, is agriculture. The growth rate for the last 2-3 years,
it's nothing to do.
Okay, have not been too good. I know that you're also somebody who, an entrepreneur, who is very much interested in agriculture because you invest in it. There's a story on the front page of the BNFT. It talks about palm oil and abundant wealth. I don't know whether you're into palm oil.
Yes, I am into it.
Into
I
palm.
have a plantation.
Okay. How can you do a sourcing analysis of palm oil vis-a-vis how better we could have taken advantage of the
yes, Kufuor started with it, and he realized the wealth in oil palm. If you
palm plantations had always been in Ghana before even Kufuor became president.
Yes, but as to how it is intensified year after year, it's something that needs to be bothered with. It was a presidential initiative. A lot of seedlings went out, but I think when this government came, he did not sustain it. He did not sustain it. But it's something that can help Ghana come out of this quagmire of no money syndrome. Because looking at Malaysia, they took palm fruits from here and cultured them for their country. And they are the leading world producers of oil palm. Here in Ghana, we cannot even meet our local demand. We have to import from Nigeria and Sierra Leone. It means that we have the suitable land, the environment is good for oil palm. Everywhere in the middle belt you can do that, and even beyond, going to the northern region. Yet still, I think education and support for that is not forthcoming.
What do you need to have a proper plantation apart from the right policy framework?
Yes, you need first, the seedlings is what you need. If you have the land, and now that we know that the middle belt is suitable for this, we need the land, and after the land you need the seedlings. After the seedlings you need chemicals, maybe sometimes fertilizers at subsidized rates, because when you are starting, it takes about 5 to 6 years before you can make a meaningful harvest when you venture into oil palm, you see. And some of these things, it must be planned, systematic, and sustained. You see, when we start and we lag behind, it means we are not sustaining that, and that will not give us the best of results. Government should plan well, systematically, and make sure that they are going to sustain whatever a government or the other government starts, if it will inure to the benefit and the growth of our economy. We don't speak about anything about apart from progress in economic development. This is what the world needs now. Without that, we aren't going forward at all.
How can we take consistent advantage of a crop like palm, looking at what other countries like Malaysia, etc., have done with the product?
Oh, that is what I said earlier on. The seedlings must be given to farmers who are ready to go into plantation or into small farms, right? Free of charge, as it used to be. When Kufuor was in power, the presidential initiative, it was given to them for free. Sometimes even they took charge of slashing cost. Government took charge of the slashing cost. You see, this is something that will tell you that the government then was determined to sustain the growth of the oil palm.
Was committed to it.
Yes, knowing that it can be a good
but
source.
You say this government is not committed to it.
No, it's not committed. Recently, you don't hear about oil palm initiative.
But you still have your plantations?
Yes, I have about 500 acre farm. Yes.
And they're doing well?
Oh, I'm doing well. I had the right type of seedlings to plant. So going into it, I would say it's very good. When you have a 2 or 3 acre farm, you can never ever go without money in your pocket. I'm telling you. A 3 acre farm, you can take care of 3 children up to the university level and still make a living. A Jeku, one man of late, was in my town.
Who, a Jeku?
Yes, Ejeku. He had
in your town.
Yes, he had a 5-acre.
Which town?
Begro.
Begro.
Yes, he had a 5-acre farm, and I tell you, he was always the best. He had his own commercial vehicle. He had everything.
Through his 3-acre farm.
Yes.
Ejeku.
5-acre farm. Yes, Ejeku in Begro. You see, these are some. Everybody who has. When you go to Odan, when you go to around Odan, what do we call?
Kade.
Yes, Kade and its environment. That is their mainstay. Everybody is into oil palm, and it's helping them. It can be.
I've been to the plantations in Kade, and
yeah.
It's. Yeah. I think it's an industry there.
Big industry.
Yes.
Oro farms now is with me handling.
We've had some in Trifle Praso and so on.
Yes.
Where you did Unilever plantations,
so
etc.
It's good we go into oil palm. It will help alleviate.
Do you think government listens to some of you?
Well,
not necessarily some of you, but those who are in the industry and seem to think that there should be a lot more attention.
I think
for example, I think that we should pay attention to a lot more agriculture.
But we aren't.
You go to the malls, none of the product we have nothing really.
You can
everything is from South Africa or Brazil.
I can stick my head
Israel.
out and say that this government has little to offer for agriculture. If you could see the figures yourself, just last year it grew.
Well, they say from 2017 we should see a shift.
2017, how? Even cocoa is coming down.
Cocoa.
The tonnage of cocoa. We've done 1 million before. We've done 900,000 tons before, and now we are hovering around 780,000 metric tons. It tells you from the trot that this government is not prepared to do what? To invest in agriculture. But without agriculture, it is the only commodity. The land is the only commodity that we have in abundance that we can sell to.
Bregro, is it in Fantiakwa North?
Yeah, Fantiakwa North. Yes.
Is it in Fantiakwa?
Yes, it's in Fantiakwa.
Okay.
Fantiakwa North.
The MP for Ejeku.
Ejeku is no more, but his kids are there on the farm.
Okay,
yes.
Great.
Yes.
And you say he
had a 5-acre farm.
5-acre farm.
Yes,
and he used it to educate his children. How many children did he have?
I don't know, but I'm saying that with the statistics around, me being in the system, if you have a 3-acre farm, you can take good care of your 3 children up to the university level.
You make it tantalizing for me to try and invest
into
farming.
Yes, it is good because...
it's just that means I have to take my weekend off and go and visit my farm.
Oh, yes, at least once you take 1 weekend out of a month, you can do that if you have somebody good handling it for you, because it's nothing that somebody can steal around. You see, when it gets to the period of harvesting, you can frequent the place maybe once a week to make sure that the fruits are well sold and they are handled them well, and the right people are coming into purchase. People go around with trucks, purchase and send them to Kwai and Oro and other places. So it is something that when you are into it, you can stabilize your finances, because it comes all over and around the year. It is very, very good to invest in oil palm, and I will entreat to all Ghanaians who have the wherewithal, the capital, to find seedlings. Go to Kusi Oil Research Center, purchase the seedlings. If government is not giving it for free, as is giving cocoa seedlings for free, buy them and make sure that you get well over 2 acres, and you will never be poor. This is what I would like to tell Ghanaians. It is very, very important. Oil palm is currently one of the best cash crops that one can invest in. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Ejeku.
Yeah, Ejeku.
All right, let's look at this very story. It's been trending the last, I believe, 36 hours. And it's about consistently how much whoever is interested to politic or perhaps vie for a position of a member of parliament has to spend. And I don't know whether this came also to your attention, because it was won by Honorable Muntaka and then supported by Honorable Esla about how it is that you have to spend a lot more money. And the former was saying that you need about 500,000 Ghana cedis, at least not in the least.
To come to Parliament.
Is it true?
Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah. You are rich.
It is indeed.
The Daily Dispatch seem to think, well, if you are complaining or moaning about the amount that you have to spend, who is forcing you to become a member of parliament?
Once you are into it, and also the prestige that sometimes you enjoy, that alone maybe can be more expensive than.
So you're saying that
cost.
somebody perhaps may have achieved something in life and so wants to become a member of
still
parliament.
wants to become a member of parliament.
Or somebody
Your
wants
own
to be, or somebody wants to become a professional.
that is left for him to obtain in the field or in your industry? Yeah. So he says, oh, after all, I'll have to add another prefix to my name. I want an honorable to be part of my history, and he's gone for it, and he is coming to parliament, I think, from his constituency, because they will definitely vote overwhelmingly for him. So sometimes it's not the money, you spend the money. We don't spend the money.
In other jurisdictions, like let's say the US and the UK, how it is that you raise money is critical to how you're able to execute your campaign.
Oh,
The individuals who want to campaign as MPs or for political parties, how do you raise funds?
Because of their way of life, when you go to the advanced countries, they don't support their campaigns all from their pockets. Some fresh students, they come into politics and they stay with the council and then shift on to become...
They become career politicians.
That is the point. So they don't need much of money, but what they do carries them around. And friends and individuals and party faithfuls do support them to achieve their aim if they realize that there is something in them that can help them organize well the people and make sure that good laws are made at the house. Yes.
500,000 Ghana cedis, that's a lot of money. I mean, hypothetically, average, if that's the average that you need, it depends on which constituency also in which you are in to spend.
Definitely.
Why is it that you have to spend money before you get voted into power?
It's difficult to explain this, but we all know that that is the situation. Even when you go meeting people, because of poverty that is all over in the environment, how can you meet people and tell people to go for free? You meet them and you give them something.
Why?
So,
Why do you have to give them?
They also would have to tell you all the economic burdens. So you have to pay school fees sometimes. You have to marry for people sometimes. You have to buy coffins for sometimes. You have to take up to do all sort of things for people who are poor in order to gain their confidence and vote for you to power. So it's not easy. Traveling around only is quite a lot. Look at the recent increases in our fuel prices, and if you live up north and you want to travel back and forth, a trip will cost you not less than 2,000 Ghana cedis. Going to my constituency and back wouldn't cost you less than 1,000 cedis. So you can imagine, plus dash outs that you have to make, sick people that you have to visit, and people who are in difficulty that you have to, financially that you have to assist. So it's not easy. Even the primaries alone do cost a lot. Yes, primaries alone cost a lot.
How much did you spend in your primaries?
I cannot say, I cannot be definite on this, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
So you share the money for you to be voted?
No, they come and they...
I mean, that's what you MPs do. You have to share the money. So does it mean that whoever shares the biggest chunk of money...
It is not always like that. You can pay 200 cedis to every person who comes in. And somebody can pay about 550 Ghana, but they would pay. They would like sometimes to vote the 50 Ghana. To
but
power.
most times,
it depends on. But
most times they vote because of the money.
Oh, most times yes. Sometimes, most times. Sometimes, most times.
Do you think that we'll get to the point where people rather will be voting for who you are, what you stand for, and then the promises you make of trying to get them what you have to get them or perhaps become a very good MP as a result of that, then you get voted into
yes,
power?
especially when you have been an MP before. This is my second term as an MP, and
you're going for a third.
I'm going for a third, and I tell you, if I decide to go for a fourth, I wouldn't pay even a peso to delegates, because what I have done in my constituency as far as individual poverty alleviation is concerned, I think they will willfully vote for me, because I will tell them I cannot pay now that I'm getting old. I have to save, you see, for my old age. So I cannot pay for you this time around. But looking at what I have done for you, if you think I'm worthy of going for a fourth time to continue to change your life, vote for me. And I think if this offer is given to my great people, they will willingly vote for me, even if I don't spend a peso on them. So it depends.
Honorable Muntaka and then Honorable Esla Akufo, during their comments, try to even relate health problems that would-be MPs or post-term MPs tend to have in relation to the amount of money they spend, and by virtue of that not winning the seat, and how that has had a ripple effect on their health, etc. By your own observational analysis, could there be some veracity of truth in it?
Oh yes, definitely. They aren't far from right. They are very right. Because the number of phone calls that an MP receives a day is well over 200 on average. That alone, yes, can displace your health issues if you aren't careful. So you have to be resilient, and you have to be forthright to yourself, and make sure that you are standing in for the people no matter what. Other than that, if you think coming in to be an MP is an easy task, that alone wouldn't help you. Realize the enormity of the program, and when you come in, stand in firmly to the task. And other than that, I think it can worry you. Many MPs are on drugs, hypertension, this, that.
It's not got to do with old age. What has that got to do with anything?
Oh,
maybe you're growing up, you're hypertensive.
But considering
it is what it is.
Considering the calls and the requests, if you don't have the wherewithal, because our salary is nothing that can travel an MP for a week or two.
You gentlemen and ladies get paid huge sums of 7,500.
Yes. So what I'm saying
that's
is,
more than what the average manager receives in
Ghana. If you don't have the wherewithal, if you don't wealth yourself financially before becoming an MP, and you have wealth yourself to help others, including your family, whilst getting your family along, you have the money to assist other people also to go for. That's noblesse oblige.
I will not ask of your personal experience, but for the friends you have, or your colleagues, what's some of your, let's say, trivial but the most outrageous demand they can ever make?
Presently, it's about school fees.
They want you to pay school fees for who? Children they bore?
Yeah.
Why?
Recently, they want
they are
to buy
bearing children, and they want you to pay.
Yes, because they didn't know it would be this hard, right? They didn't know they would.
So you're justifying the demands because you feel that the economy is not good enough.
They have nowhere to turn their heads to.
You should have planned your families.
Unlike
if you plan your families well, you don't.
That is why I use the words noblesse oblige. The nobles were obliged to assist those behind them, but now nobody is being able.
We're not living in a feudal system again, Honorable.
Yes, but what can you do in our system, in our social system, because of a lack of education and lack of good jobs and lack of assistance from people who rule us? It becomes difficult for people when they have about 2 or 3 or more kids, when they are not employed, to take good care of their children. So if there is any assistance that they can turn around for, then definitely they have to ask. And who is the first person who is a social person to turn to? It is not your relation. if they don't have as well as you don't, then the MP is the first person, the first point of call.
You, the members of Parliament, seem to take on this very onerous responsibility very well. One will be wondering why you're complaining.
Oh, we aren't, as I told you, we aren't complaining, but we are saying that the volume is just too many. And it is a situation that you cannot help all of them who ask for their assistance. It means their children will go wayward. Their children will come out of
school. Through no fault of yours. Why are you worried about it?
But through the fault of the government. You see, yes, the government predicted when Akufo-Addo said he will give free access. Right? The government said it could not be. They marshaled every financial fund to do what? To make sure that they educate Ghanaians that it can never happen, citing examples from other countries, Kenya and elsewhere. And lo and behold, when the government had the power, he said, oh, I'm come to give you free education, but in an advancing form. Right? They know advancing form and they cannot advance the payment of tariffs, but gives it to us in bullet. You see, these are some of the things. So people are dropping out. If you have the statistics, you can tell me the number of dropouts between JSS and SS is alarming. Well over 200,000, and from the SS to the university, it's also well over 160,000. So where are we turning these youth to? You see, it's very alarming, and we all have to sit down and make sure that
and have a careful
the profundity of our problem is just too many.
I agree with
you see, we are spoiling our country.
I agree with you.
Teeming youth.
Sometimes you're driving, you see roadblocks and their youth, and I feel compelled to give them something, because I said if there was a job or they were educated,
they wouldn't have been on the road filling potholes.
Anyway, let's look at this. It's the last leg of our political discussion this morning. The Institute for Democratic Governance, that is IDEC, they are asking the Electoral Commission to now enjoin you political parties to sign peace pact ahead of the upcoming elections. And we know that the electioneering has just started or will start very soon. But there seems to be some rancor and some tension in the atmosphere. And so perhaps a peace pact will be the right thing to do.
Peace pact have ever been signed before any election in Ghana. Yet sometimes there are flashes of these routes during election day, even before, during, and after. It is something that we all have to educate ourselves and make sure that it doesn't happen going forward, because the world is growing. And everybody needs to adapt to new systems of life and a new care for the next person behind, in front, or beside him or her. If we all have to live, you see, we live in a decadent society, that's fine. But why should you chase, kill, and maim your own brother, your kith and kin? It is not the best. We have to educate the people that if you maim and kill, it is not the best for somebody to go to power. And politicians must also be forewarned that why wouldn't you use your own children? You have nephews, you have nieces. Why wouldn't you use them? But rather you use macho men who are not your relatives and who have been made so because of maybe you, a politician, your own dictates. If politicians were of the best nature in African countries, for that matter, Ghana, we wouldn't have had macho men roaming about soliciting for, politicians to engage them to do such, excuse me to say, F word. You see, it is not the best. Politicians should learn that it is not the best to use macho men to fight a political cause. It is the time that you can advise people, educate people, explain your policies to them, and let them willingly vote for you, because when you come to power... So
you're saying there's not necessarily about the pact, but it's about the behavior and how the political parties and the citizenry on one hand also tend to comport themselves.
Yes, one can very well say that. There are impressionable young men out there who, because of lack of job, right, or poverty, are willing to render their services to anybody who is willing to pay for such services and order them about, no matter the type of work that one wants them to do. So once they are around, they are also looking for a job. They consider it as a job. Some group of macho men in recent times advertise that they are ready for politicians to use them. Can you imagine this? I, for one, I would never go about with a macho man behind me, because after all, what do I need them for? And my people, why would my own people have that idea to harm me? It is not the best. It is not the best at all.
We'll see how that goes. I have this one, this very message. It says, good morning, Roland. If MPs come with campaign promises that, or if an MP comes with a campaign promise that he or she will pay school fees, ensure developmental projects, pay hospital bills, promise cash in packets and others, why won't we demand that they win the seats and demand them a lot when they win that very seat?
I don't think there are anybody or any MP worth of his salt go about telling people that I'll put money in your pocket and I will make sure that I'll pay. Some have heard some saying that, but not the majority of MPs who say this. Maybe coming into Parliament, they didn't know what pertains there, so they can give such hallucinating.
When you were campaigning, what did you promise?
I promised to help my people, because when I was coming, I was giving loans to farmers to farm green pepper and
so you are saying that whoever is benevolent should become an MP?
I told them that I will change your life. I will make
so you are saying that whoever is benevolent in the community or in the society should become...
Not whoever.
But that's what you're saying.
And yes, that is one aspect of it. That alone wouldn't take you to the position. But realizing the hardships of the people and making sure that when you come to Parliament, you can lobby some of these projects for them. It is not only their individual assistance.
Is it better or are you more likely to get into Parliament if, let's say, you are well without, not necessarily born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but you've done well financially, and so you have a better chance of being voted into power?
People are bent depending on your character, right? And your pedigree in the community, right? People will be bent to choose you as compared to others.
Okay. Yeah. The MP must be fair. Is he saying that when his party was in power, he was not paying, people were not paying school fees?
He asked me. Oh, people were paying school fees. They're going forward, considering the hardships that Ghanaians are going through now. It would be better if SS were to be for free, because when you go to the villages, they are paupers. Majority of villages are paupers because they don't have even machetes, cutlasses to weed. Now a cutlass is going for 20 Ghana. It used to be for 3 cities, 4 cities. Now it's for 20 Ghana, right?
20 Ghana is not too much, is it?
You can buy a knapsack, but go to the village and give somebody 5 cities, right?
And
the person himself, right, would even like to lie down for you to walk on over him. You see, it's difficult in the villages. It is very difficult in the villages. Very, very difficult.
Okay.
Now even that there are increases in prices and tariffs of electricity and this, and people are using their buffer to cushion that off. They are not sending, they are not remitting their people, or they are in the villages. So it's very difficult for people.
But somebody says we are behind Nanado. We are behind Nanado. ECG must reduce the tariffs now, and that's from Abiu.
Or he comes to reduce it. That's all.
Okay. From Plains, and that'll be it for our discussions this morning. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Sir.
All right. We've had in the studio Kwabna Mankwe Siama. He's a member of Parliament for Fantiakwa North. And we've been discussing a whole lot of issues. You want to still get interactive, please make sure you do so. On Facebook, we have a page on Newson TV. And for our WhatsApp platform, it's through the number 056800,000. We've had a couple of your messages, so thank you very much for them. Now we have to make way for entertainment. And then when we come back after entertainment, we'll wrap up the whole show. Do stay on.